that the politics are supposed to impact, which is business in this country. Now, for those people interested in business of vehicles, we do know that transport is a major key area, if you may, that you have to think about when you're starting your business. But then in the transport industry, you also have to know exactly what's going on there in terms of making sure that you have a trading solution within that transport system that you're implementing in your business. So tracking essentially becomes a very bigger area that you have to think about for your business as a trader. So this morning, we are privileged to be hosting one Joseph Muongi, who is a director at Finatrack Global Ltd, to tell us some of those trading solutions that you gotta think about as a business owner when it comes to the transport systems that you want to implement in your business. Joseph, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Happy to have you around. So, for any other person who wants to know who Finatrack is, okay, how do you tell them who you are?
So basically, Finatrack Global Ltd is licensed by the Communication Authority of Kenya as an application service provider for vehicle tracking and fleet management solutions. Yes.
Every time you talk about vehicle tracking,
yes,
and fleet management, I want to start with vehicle tracking. People think, ni kuwekewa tu sensor kwa gari na hiyo story inaisha, and then it's done and dusted. Could you talk to me about why, as a business owner, I need to start thinking about vehicle tracking? Start with business, then we go to personal vehicles as well.
Okay. So from a business perspective, the first advantage is the peace of mind. So it's definitely having the ability to know where your assets are at any particular time. Then from there, it's also profitability. This is it's in relation to you having control of the use of your vehicle, ensuring it's being used in the most efficient way possible. Because what people go wrong about vehicle tracking, they simply assume it's a device which I need, that in the event that my vehicle is stolen, I'll be able to recover
I don't know where it is.
Yeah. But the whole gist of, or majority benefit of having the vehicle tracker is within the operations. You enhancing your operations. Because from the vehicle tracker, you get the information of where your vehicle is.
Yes.
You can plan the journeys beforehand based on the routes and the traffics. You can also be able to analyze later on what was the use of my vehicle, what was the mileage covered, vis-a-vis the costs which I incurred.
Yes.
Yes.
So no wonder you're calling it a trading solution now. We're not just telling you, come, let's track your vehicles. You're saying, well, we're going to give you a trading solution in terms of how you're going to manage the use of this particular asset.
Yes, exactly.
So let's go directly then into that trading solution.
Okay.
What data, for example, if I come and tell you, Joseph, I've got 10 trucks. I need you to fit them with that particular system. What data am I going to get from this particular trucks through your system?
Okay. So the first piece of data which you'll get definitely is the mileage, distance covered by your truck. Next, you'll be able to extrapolate consumption, fuel consumption. Because within the transport industry, the highest cost related to operations is usually fuel. So with this system, you're able to monitor fuel consumption. So in terms of fuel consumption, you're also able to control elements of fraud and fuel theft, which is a critical loss area within the transport industry. And then over and above that, you're also able to use now the system to manage your service. Let's say you're a transport business, you transport goods. You're able to assist your clients, get timely deliveries. You can also offer your clients a platform through which themselves can be able to track their own goods. So this helps them also on their end in terms of planning. And you also reduce losses due to inefficiencies. Yes. So the system integrates both your driver aspect and also you yourself as a manager aspect.
I'm going to get back to these questions. One of the areas that majority of the truckers, those guys who are into transport business have been talking about is when they lose their fuel. from these tanks where a driver's en route tells you, well, I don't have enough fuel, so I got to fuel somewhere. And they start selling it. I normally see those incidents on the road, especially when you're on long distance journeys. How does your system stop that? Could you tell us how it makes it bulletproof from anybody stealing fuel from my tank?
So first of all, you need to install a smart sensor into the fuel tank. So with this sensor, on your phone, you're able to see the real-time fuel in your tank. In the event of siphoning, where siphoning now refers to someone now removing the fuel from the tank, you get a real-time alert on your phone. Because what happens within the transport industry, the vehicle owner knows that there's fuel theft, but they can't prove where the fuel theft happened or quantify how much fuel theft was actually involved. So with this system, you're able to real-time pick my fuel from my tank is being siphoned as we speak. So
how does the sensor behave? Because there could be a lot of explanations as why you've got that beep on your phone.
No. The way it works, the sensor is connected to the tracking device. So in the event that abnormal fuel consumption happens in your vehicle, you get a real-time alert on the app. Now remember, even as the vehicle is en route, you're able to see real-time fuel consumption. So let's say I've topped up 100 liters. My truck is moving from Nairobi to Mombasa. So as the truck is moving, the sensor, the same way your gauge works in the car, is the same way the sensor works. It shows as fuel is reducing. If you tell your driver, go and refuel, if they add 20 liters on your system, real-time, you're able to see 20 liters has been added. Yes.
So it's possible to actually then say, well, I've added 20 liters, I've added this, or I've removed this amount of liters. Is that what happens, that when the vehicle stops, then it should be consuming fuel?
Yes, when it stops now, fuel consumption should land. So if in such a scenario, the system now picks as an abnormality and sends you an alert, a siphoning alert.
Pretty much. Another question comes like this. Well, I'm a sole entrepreneur. The only thing I've got is a lot of trucks that are essentially in the system. So I'm in that business for just making money. Am I the one who's going to sit back, Joseph, and say, well, I'm the one who's going to essentially track everything that's happening in this particular system? So essentially what I do, I wake up in the morning. All my trucks might be in business. Some might be traveling at night when I'm sleeping. When do I get this real-time updates? How is it possible? Are you the one who's managing that system for me?
So there are two different options. So most transport companies prefer having their own fleet managers in-house. But some of them also contract that job now to us. So now we assign a team to manage their fleet. So now that encompasses the element of fleet management, complete fleet management. So in this sense, we get information from the client that I have an order where my truck is supposed to move goods from point A to point B. So we do the whole journey management plan.
I see that now. Isn't it? Like I can come get those services to you just based on a single journey. I need you to follow that truck and manage for me from whatever it is up to where it's supposed to end up.
Because apart from fuel theft, journey management plan, if it's not taken into account well, it's what also leads to these road accidents which happen all the time. Because if you poorly manage the journey, let's say your driver can drive for too long, causing fatigue, increasing the chances of an accident. So you're supposed to be able to plan within this route, the vehicle will have reached this point by this time.
Driving at this particular speed.
Driving at this particular speed. And in case there's a problem, from the tracking system, you're able to estimate the safe distance where the vehicle should stop. So the driver should stop at a particular point, relax for a particular point of time, and then from there, they're supposed to move from there, let's say maybe to the destination. So throughout that journey management system, our team now liaises with the driver directly. And in case of any challenges on the road, let's say a mechanical breakdown, we also liaise with a team of experts on the ground. Let's say they need a technician, we liaise promptly. So we save on time and reduce the risks of further losses.
That is essentially just a trading solution. It's not just a tracking solution, isn't
it?
You've essentially moved from a tracking solution into now a trading solution in terms of even how these guys get their businesses. Good. Another question that you're going to run into, Joseph, essentially when you're talking about Finatrack, it is number two. Can I get your services on a single journey in the sense of I'm not going to subscribe into your business month to month. No, I am essentially going to come to you when I've got an order. As I call you, I've got an order for tomorrow, please come manage this particular truck. What are those bouquets that you have for your customers?
Yeah, we actually have such a plan. So in such a scenario, we have portable tracking devices. They're actually magnetic devices, which we're able to activate based on a particular period of time. We can activate them for 1 week, 1 day. So once we install this, they don't need any wiring. So let's say it's in the cargo, we can attach it somewhere, securely in the cargo, or also in the cabin. So with this, we're able to monitor for you the vehicle. And in some special scenarios, some people also want us to monitor video. So we also install smart video devices. So over and above tracking, we're able to monitor everything happening. Let's say it's inside the cabin or inside the container. Now ensuring we manage the full journey. And at the end, we are able to also ensure paperwork is done in order. Let's say there's a delivery note. The delivery note is signed, scanned on the phone, and uploaded. And the client is able to verify beforehand, before the truck leaves the site, that the goods have been received and they're in good order.
That's it.
And then now from there, they can be able to invoice.
That's it.
Yes.
Pretty much. What about theft that occurs to the luggage that is essentially getting transported? Because that's another area that majority of traders have been complaining that, well, the quality of goods that were received by the client were not essentially what the truck started the journey with. Yes.
Yeah, so we also help with managing that, but that's a huge risk on the moral hazard. Now that's where we pay a lot of attention on the type of driver who is involved in that particular trip.
Yes.
So in most cases, the truck owner has their own driver. So in special scenarios, if the goods being transported are sensitive, we also add one of our members from our team.
I see that now.
Yes.
Yes.
Now to be able to accompany, it's more or less an escort, to escort the goods to the particular destination. But we're able to limit these incidents of fraud. So one of the essential parts is ensuring on loading the driver signs off, that they are committing that I'm carrying 15 tons. I sign when picking the goods. When offloading, I go and weigh again. Now, if now there's an issue, I already committed myself that I was carrying 15 tons. Now I have to explain.
Where did the rest of them go?
Where did the rest go?
Yes.
Because the essence why you find a lot of fraud is there are no checks and balances. So if you say your driver stole, how much did he steal? If the driver himself did not confirm at the point of loading what quantity of goods he was given.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's more or less a case of suspicion. Now you can't hold him purely accountable. Even if you take him to court, there's no way you can be able to prove that my driver took these goods, this quantity here, but when he reached here, they were lower.
Pretty much. You're going to run into this question. We're going to look at the pricing model that you essentially use then to attract majority of traders to your company. Now, what about personal solutions for people with private cars as well? And I'm going to ask this question in a very interesting way. People say, I had a trucker in my car. My car was stolen. At some point, the truck essentially just went offline. I can't track that car. What are those cases, Joseph?
That's usually a case of tampering. Because what happens, and it's a sad scenario, so as we make security measures on one end, other people are investing on how to counter those security measures. Because in essence, what happens practically, if your vehicle is stolen and there's a lapse of time before being reported, for example, the person who has stolen your vehicle, if they have technical expertise, they can be able to dismantle your car and tamper with the wiring, because the device is powered by power from your car. So if I'm a qualified vehicle technician, I'm able to comb through your car, through the wiring system of your car, find the tracker, and essentially destroy the tracker. So that's what usually happens in most scenarios.
How do you limit that at Finatrack? Because if essentially I'm carrying, valuable goods, then that can be an area for me to target your company from.
Yes. So in such special scenarios, what we do is first the device which we install, we make sure it's tamper-proof. In this sense, we mean that in the event it's being tampered with, you get a real-time alert there and then that your device has been disconnected.
Yes.
There and then. And then an extra mile which we go is adding another tracker, which is a wireless tracker. These are more difficult to find, and they're not obvious devices. So whenever you're combing through the wiring of your vehicle, it's very difficult for you to locate this particular device. And once this particular device, let's say, gets access to light, since we've obviously hidden it somewhere, it also sends a real-time alert. That where you had covered this device,
somebody is essentially uncovering it. Pretty much.
So in real sense, you're really trying to just reduce the probability of tampering.
Yes. All right. Let's talk about the bouquets then, because it's important for any other person who's listening to you, saying, well, what are the bouquets that I'm looking at Finatrack? Now, let's begin with somebody who's got, actually, just before that, there's another question here, that it just doesn't go beyond the tracking system. There are also people who say, well, what security services do you also have, essentially, when I'm transporting these valuable goods? Do you also offer escort services with the goods that are getting transported on the road?
Yes. In special scenarios, we also offer that.
Yes. Pretty much. Good. Let's begin then with the first bouquet. Somebody who's just approaching you at the point of that particular order. I've got a client in Kisumu. I want to move my goods from Nairobi to Kisumu. Give me the service. How much am I going to pay for one truck?
For one truck, one journey?
Yes.
So the starting price is usually 3,000. 3,000 Kenya shillings for that one package. If you want a simple trip, cargo, truck installed in Kisumu, being installed in Nairobi, that's 3,000. And it can also include one extra person to escort the goods for you within that one trip. Yes. Manageable, isn't it? Yes.
Especially when you look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, because what we are really trying to do is make it more sustainable. In such a way that if I had 3 trucks coming this way, I can be able to cover the 3 trucks and be sure that my goods
are well safe. The Finatrack is taking care of them. The only thing I'm going to see is the paperwork by the end of the day, and I'm done. Done and dusted.
And you're done and dusted. And then over and above that, we also partner with insurance companies. Because there's something also called goods in transit insurance. Because even if we ourselves are involved in protecting the goods, we can't 100% guarantee against things such as accidents.
Damages and accidents as well.
So in the event of an accident and the goods are damaged, now that's where the insurance comes in.
Very important from that perspective.
And also the insurance now takes advantage of, once we have the tracking system, it really helps a lot in explaining. So we see the journey started, and at this particular point, this is where the impact happened. So also in terms of the claiming process becomes easier, unlike when you didn't have the tracking system.
Yes. Pretty much. All right. Now, somebody again approaches you from this perspective. I need to subscribe to you. I'm into this business. I've got a couple of trucks. I want to know exactly what they're up to, where they are, and even when they're on transit, I need to know exactly what that is. Tells you you're going to manage the system, you yourselves. All right. How much is that bouquet?
So for that bouquet, the installation is 10,000. Because now for that bouquet, we need to install now the wired device. So once we do the installation...
That's on one truck, isn't it?
Yeah, on one truck, 10,000 for one truck. And then now the annual plan starts at 2,500 to 5,000 Kenya shillings, now depending on the services required. So for the 2,500, we only manage the system online. But now for the 5,000, now there we also assign to you a personal fleet manager to be able to liaise with you in the event of trips, in the event of checkups. You're able to liaise with them directly. And they're able also to give you regular reports. Let's say daily, weekly, or monthly.
That is an event where I am the one managing that particular system.
We give you the access, but you also have a fleet manager who runs now reports for you. Yes.
Pretty much. This system, is it operated through an app? How does it function?
The system, we have an Android app and also an iOS app. So you can have it on your phone and also through our website. Yes. So whenever on any device, you're able to access all this information. Yes.
Pretty much. Good. Somebody's going to ask you updates on the system. If I have any other problem with a particular system, what do I need to do?
If you have any other problem? So for particular issues, you raise them directly with us. So we are able to liaise one-on-one with the vehicle owner, because there are some scenarios where we can't install the device. Let's say your vehicle is garaged. So the vehicle on our system will go offline. So that's where now we link one-on-one with the vehicle owner and confirm what's the real issue. So if it's a normal checkup on their end, we leave it. But if it's a case of either tampering on a wiring fault, we send our technician.
Yes. Pretty much. Now, Joseph, since you started the company, and Kenyans have been blamed for being the traditional guys. Mimi nakuanga na driver wangu ule na trust. Naenda huku shago, napata mtu mzuri. Nasema wewe ndio ulikuwa unaendesha gari zangu. You know, just to take care of every other eventuality that might come in. Or you get somebody from within the family and say, you guys will be the ones who will be driving my trucks. So with the entire aim of my guys cannot kill me in business. Do you think majority of business owners in the country have realized that indeed this is the way to go, going by how your company has grown?
Yeah, see, from the time we started to now, people are really appreciating the differences. Because before it was purely on subjective terms, where people could base a lot on assumptions. But now with this system gives you the confidence to accurately point out there's an issue here, I'm losing money here, and corrective measures can easily be recommended now based on facts and data.
Yes, pretty much. I've got another question from you, by the way, this morning. Job, my brother saw you coming on the TV this morning. He said, can you ask him that these guys will say in personal cars, just buy a kabampe phone, hook it up to wiring system in the car, hide it somewhere. That is way better than a tracker in your personal car. As somebody in the business, I know you hear these stories.
A lot of that is is propagated by what you guys watch on YouTube. Because what we have with such a device, it's really, in some sense, you're trying to create your own tracking system. But what you lacked is the data. Because what you'll be able to see is the position of the kabambe through a DCI officer. Because you know, in Kenya, let's say right now, I can track you based on your phone's location. But I can't do it by myself.
You have to get permission.
You have to get permission.
And prove why you're doing it, isn't it?
You have to prove why you're doing it. And the only people given the right to do this are DCI officers. And when you go to the station, it's not all of them. There are specific guys who have that access to that type of system. And then another thing, when you're using that system, it doesn't pinpoint the actual location. Because what it depends on is the network, the network masts of the telecommunication companies.
Okay, so it tells you...
It just triangulates, tells you the vehicle is within this area.
So it's not exact,
it's not 100%. It's not 100%. Because with the tracking system, you get up to 10 meters accuracy when the vehicle is covered, and in the open up to 5 meters. But with a phone, you only get an estimated area. And then another thing with the phone, you're not able to get historical data, unlike the tracking system. Because it will show you this person is within this area now, but 1 hour ago, you can't know. Now that's the main difference.
That's the main difference. Good. Then let's answer the second question. How much does it cost then for personal cars then to work with you in terms of tracking their cars?
So for personal cars, usually 10,000, the installation.
That's the installation, isn't it?
And then an annual fee of 2,000.
An annual fee of 2,000.
And in some scenarios where the person doesn't want the annual fee, we give them a waiver by paying an extra 5,000. But in this case, they have to be able to top up data, because the tracking device also has a SIM card. Which requires now to send the data to the server.
I see.
So now the vehicle owner has to top up airtime regularly to that SIM card.
All right. So you give them the access.
You give them the full access
to essentially go. But it's 10,000, isn't it?
It's 10,000.
To actually get to do that.
The installation.
Pretty much. Now we take a tiny breather right here. By the way, Joseph, once we come back, I want to talk about Finatrack. What essentially you're looking to grow into for any other person listening to this morning, on exactly how they can even think about working with you as well. We are with Joseph this morning, looking at essentially what it is presenting to you, which is a trading system. Once we come back, I want to learn much about Finatrack, essentially that particular segment that they are into, and more about Joseph the man himself. Good morning. Like that.
Yeah.
The county government of Nyeri, with approval of His Excellency the Governor, Mutahi Kahiga, has granted 100% waiver on all interest and penalty accrued on all outstanding land rates. Property owners in Nyeri County are advised to take advantage of the waiver period that starts from 30th June 2023 and ends on 28th July 2023 on condition that the principal rates are paid in full. Property owners are advised to obtain invoices from the Sub-County Revenue Office where the property is located and make payment by depositing cash or banker's check to a bank account. Take notice that once the waiver period lapses, the county government will institute all necessary measures to recover any unpaid rates and penalties, including repossessing the property.
The future is hands-on, and Sensei College is at the front line of technical institutes in Kenya, offering practical and skill-based courses accredited by all concerned bodies, TVETA, NTSA and NITA. Sensei College offers driving and plant operator, cosmetology, fashion and design, mechanics, hydroponics and irrigation, installation, building construction, hospitality, photography and video production, electrical and electronics repairs, and ICT courses. Get free plant operator training when you enroll for plant mechanics, free driving when you enroll for motor vehicle mechanics, and free riding when you enroll for motorcycle mechanics. The requirement is an ID only, with intakes every first week of the month. We have 2 campuses in Nakuru and Nairobi. We provide meals and accommodation. Sensei College. My skills, my future.
Pretty much. Welcome back to the Morning Drift. We are chatting the last part of our conversation this morning, and here's the thing. Then it doesn't stop here, because if Joseph is talking about the trading solutions that they do have at Finatrack, we want to learn exactly how the particular industry is growing and essentially where the company is going. This Finatrack. Good, Joseph. Let's talk about it then. When did you start Finatrack, and what would you say have been the milestones that you've seen at your company?
So the company, I started it in 2017. From 2019, we also started offering vehicle tracking now to the banks,
yes,
which is usually one of the major critical clients. So for the banks, for them now we secure the loaned vehicles on their behalf. So once you apply for asset finance, the bank has to be sure that their vehicle is safe.
That's it.
Because the vehicle is still co-owned between you and the bank. So also in the event of loan default, we are also the ones who liaise now with the auctioneers,
yes,
from the bank. And also in the event of confirming that the assets are still within the country, we offer that information to the bank.
Does it?
Yes.
How sensitive is that particular segment itself? Because they say you as a company really have to trust your processes for you to start working with the banks, because you do know that you're working with a very critical area. That those are not the vehicles of the client until they're done with payment. So if anything happens, the vehicle disappears. Does it go back to you?
Yes, we are responsible. We take full responsibility.
Yes.
In fact, for us to be able to offer this particular service, we also have to have a professional indemnity insurance.
Yes.
So, because what happens here, in the event of theft, now we liaise also with the insurance company for this particular vehicle, ensuring the whole process is streamlined. Because we have some cases where there's also an element of fraud involved. Let's say this person feels like, I'm struggling to pay this loan. So what do? They go tamper with the vehicle, maybe sell it off as parts, and go and declare my vehicle was stolen. So
and those cases do happen.
Those cases do happen.
Yeah,
they do happen. Or let's say I'm struggling with my loan. I tell my driver, go leave the vehicle on the side of a cliff, get out. The vehicle becomes a write-off and I'm paid off by the insurance company. So it's usually a very critical industry, and that's why we have to also to be licensed by CAK. Because we are handling all this information, and we also are supposed to be responsible enough to be able to manage it prudently. Yes.
That's it. And I call it sensitive in this sense, because now it's essentially changes your liability essentially to these assets that now you're tracking. What data is very key in terms of working with banks when you're telling them, well, I'm going to help you track the cars that you're giving out on loan basis?
The banks mainly consider the reliability of your device. That's the first thing. And the next important thing which they need is the location. For you to be able to confirm to them regularly that you're sure where this vehicle is located at any particular time.
Yes.
And in the event of any wiring issue or challenges with the device, you're able to promptly notice and promptly resolve. So that's one of the key elements which the banks really pay attention to.
Does it?
Because for them, the main risk is default. Because the bank is not in the vehicle selling business, it's in the financing business.
Does it?
So for them, they are more interested in protecting the vehicle as an investment. They've loaned out money for this vehicle to be bought.
Does it?
So for you, on your end as a trucking company, they entrust you the responsibility in ensuring the vehicle can be located and it's being operated as per the agreement with the bank.
Does it?
Yes.
Pretty much. I'll be coming back to essentially what the integration with your app is online for all those people who want to now interact with your business online. Let's just delve into another area that I'm seeing on your website, which is essentially logbook car loan services now.
Yeah.
But when I look at your company now, you're growing into that company that is essentially within transport. Any other solution that you might want to get within the transport industry, we're here for sector. We're here for you.
Yes.
Why this area?
This area is actually critical because one of the major challenges which we found out within the transport industry is liquidity. Liquidity is one of the main challenges inhibiting growth and also challenging operations of any transport industry. So access to capital is required for you to be able to finance your operations.
Does it?
So in most scenarios, if you're within the transport industry, you have to be able to have adequate working capital for you to sustain your deliveries. So we find standard contracts where once you deliver, you have to invoice and get paid after 30 days, for example. So within these 30 days, you're still fueling, you have to pay your drivers, you have to cover your cost operations in the event of a breakdown. So that's why we are coming up with a host of in-house solutions to be able to assist the vehicle owners to be able to cover these expenses at a flexible rate such that they're still profitable in the operations. Yes.
Pretty much. But for the people that you're working with, they essentially aren't just looking for you for one service.
Yes.
Could you talk to me about how your interest rates in this particular segment have been made, so that you can actually now say, we are in the business, and you're not just like any other person who's coming and say, we can give you logbook loans. For us, we work in this particular industry, so we do understand your particular needs. So even the interest rates that we're going to call out for, they're going to be within that range.
So most of them are usually short-term loans, and the interest is about 3% of the amount loaned out. Because what you're working with here, we're not financing them to purchase assets. It's basically to cover their margins. So in such a scenario, we're able to understand that for this truck owner, his profit margins are 30% or 20%.
Does it?
So we tell them, if you're able to cover this, and you just need something to cover this particular point, we only take 3% of the amount which you give you.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's essentially within the business. Because
within the business.
You've even seen that they're within the business, and you know exactly what their profit margin is. So you understand what particular solution that you are actually looking for, isn't it? Pretty much. All right, let's go back to the Finatrack Now app itself. It's got a lot of areas that you're covering. I can see you're in the car loan market, you're in the Finatrack garage, you're in the trucks marketplace. The interaction with the app, what do you see when you go right there? Because you're working with people who might not essentially be tech savvy. Somebody told me the guys in the trucking business, and you're telling them, where your app to solutions. How does it look?
For the market solutions, those are actually different. They are basically websites. Because we created them not to solve practical problems which you saw within the market. Because like one of them is automat.co.ke. So it's simply a website which enables efficient selling, buying of vehicles, spare parts, access to the financial solutions, and insurance. So it's just a one-stop shop for the vehicle owner to enhance his experience. So let's say I own a truck, and I'm trying to dispose this truck so that I buy another truck. I can easily post the pictures there and the details, get a client, dispose it, buy another truck there. We've also partnered now with the relevant dealers within this particular industry. So those are separate. Now when you go to the tracking app itself, that's purely GPS tracking and fleet management. Only happens within that app.
That's the only one that happens within that particular app.
We tried integrating it, we saw it was too complicated.
Too complex, isn't it?
Too complex for us. Because once someone enters, let's say they only entered for GPS tracking, and they find all these
a flurry of options that you're trying to offer as a company.
They get confused. So what we do is on our website now we just put the links. So once a client now contacts us, let's say we're doing for them the fleet management. The vehicle has broken down in Mombasa. They tell us now we need this particular spare part. So we tell them go to our website, see if it's listed there. Once you find it there, we'll get a dealer or a seller of that spare part within Mombasa.
Yeah.
So it's basically enhancing now the vehicle ownership experience. Yes, for our clients.
Yes.
Yes.
I also see the Finatrack truck garage.
Yes.
What is that? Yeah.
Because now that also we opened it at Mlolongo, because most of our clients were the truck owners. So one of the major challenges, if you go along Mombasa Road, you'll find a lot of trucks
that are broken down.
On the side of the road.
Yeah.
And it's actually illegal for you to repair your vehicle
by
the side of the road.
Yeah,
but the roadside. So you're essentially gambling. If the guys, if there's an inspection from Kenya, your vehicle will be towed. They'll clamp you, or maybe remove your number plates.
Yes.
So we created for them this particular yard. So in the event that your vehicle or your truck gets a breakdown within Mombasa Road, and you have your technicians, you can simply bring it to the yard. Or if you don't have technicians, we have a host of technicians now who operate within our yards.
Yes.
So they can assist you in terms of the repairs.
Yes.
Yes.
But when you started this company, Joseph, because I see all these solutions that you're talking about right here, were they incremental? What you said, you started as a trucking company, then you realized, I can actually offer these services, or you had essentially thought about them at the onset when you started this company in 2017?
No. Most of the solutions are actually addressed to the client problems.
Okay.
So if I find the problem is persisting for long and I can't get an alternative solution to recommend to my client, I propose my own solution. And once I propose the solution, I get feedback from the client and improve on that.
Yes.
Yes.
If you look at your customer base, the way that you've been growing, I would like to think that you have this environment where a client will come to you, you're giving them this solution, and you're looking at them, they ask you a question whether my truck has got a problem, do you have any other solution for me?
Yes.
Is that how your business has kept on growing to this place where you're saying, I now know the solutions that any other person in this business essentially needs from me?
Yes, and also another advantage, I was also in the transport industry before I launched the trucking company. So,
hold on, were you a driver?
No. I was actually a truck owner.
We
used to run a company dealing with the construction material supplies, also within the same area. So once I get the vehicle owners, or mainly the truck owners, I really identify with their problems. And when starting out, it's usually a difficult scenario for you to be able to encompass all these solutions under one house. Because once you start out, you only have one truck and one driver. So you don't have a yard, you don't have a full-time mechanic, you don't have the other host of solutions, you don't have a dedicated fleet manager. So all these services are complementing now the truck owner. So you can easily own the truck today and have a host of services which could have taken you, let's say, 3 years for you to be able to build the capacity to set it up for yourself.
That's it.
Yes.
Pretty much. All right, now let's talk about where you're headed as Finatrack. And even before that, I know you've noted the way this particular industry has grown over time from 2017 to date.
Yes.
I know in 2020 we got into a lot of lessons in the way that you could manage your fleet through tech. Could you talk to me from 2017 to 2023? What would you say has changed in this particular area of business?
The business models have really changed. When we were starting out, the transport industry was dominated by a few players. So you could find a contract being taken by one contractor who has 50 trucks or 30 trucks managing the whole contract. But from 2018 to date now, we find a huge element of subcontracting has entered within the truck industry. That's why you find individual people who are not originally within the transport industry have been able to invest into the trucking industry by buying a truck. So you find now, instead of me owning 30 trucks and picking one contract, I can have 5 trucks, get the contract, and then subcontract the other 25 trucks from individual vehicle owners.
I see that now.
So it reduces your risks. Because before, even us, when we were in the business, you had to get a fleet of around 10 to 15 trucks for you to be able to get a serious contract, such that you're able to manage the capacity. So the risk with this is that once your vehicles start getting old, you find that most of your profits now go towards
going to repairing and maintaining these trucks.
So you're less profitable.
Yes.
So your economies now, they change. But in the event that you're subcontracting, you're able to manage your costs, and then now the other person is able now to handle their own risk and get an income additionally over and above trying to get these huge contracts.
Yes. Pretty much. If you look at the way in which now guys are entering into the business, are you then saying, well, the only thing that you need to own, now, without even getting the ABCDs of how the transport industry works, just own a truck. It's now easier then for you to actually get into this business.
It's actually easier, but also has its own risks. Because we find a scenario that now the supply now is becoming too much.
Okay.
So now you find a lot of trucks end up being parked because the available jobs are not matching the supply. And also another counter effect of this, you'll find that now the rates, the transport rates have to start reducing.
Dropping down.
Yeah, because now we are competing one-on-one between ourselves. So one client comes in, 50 trucks are parked. So they ask you for a quote. You say, I'll do it for 15,000. They say that's too high. They go to the other person. I was given 15. You say 13. You go on, you reach up to, let's say, 8. So what happens, you're only now doing the job to cover your costs.
As you're just undercutting
Yes, you're just undercutting each other. Yes, and it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So it's also one of the huge challenges which we're trying to resolve right now, because you also find now the cases of repossessions by the banks are going high.
Yeah, because you're not making profits out of the trucks that you have, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much. So if you turn back around then and look at the journeys that you've made, you have a flurry of options right now in that particular segment. Is that it, Joseph, or we're going to see a different picture again of Finatrack in let's say 5 years to come?
What we're really trying to do is create a one-stop shop for vehicle solutions within the East African region. So we're really trying to focus on improving, not just focusing on what we are offering right now, but really trying to get one-on-one feedback from our clients and potential clients on what their true needs are. Because sometimes we think this is the right way to go, but now feedback from the market tells you something different. So really trying to get that product market fit right and be able to scale now within this region.
Yes.
Yes.
When are we going to see you go to the rest of East Africa?
I'm actually working on that right now. But I'm trying to approach it through a different way, through a franchising model.
Yes.
So we already have this technology, this proof of concept working here in Kenya. It's easier for us now to be able to franchise it out to these neighboring countries. Yes. So once we give you the business model, the setup, let's say the initial capital to start, now you on yourself in the other country run it as your own business using our own name and our systems. Yes.
So essentially what you're doing is just going to import your systems and name to any other person who might be interested with essentially working on the same model.
Within the same model, and also our visions have to be aligned. Because it's a sensitive business, so we really have to be at par with the person within that particular country. Not just selling for the sake of selling. Yes.
Are you confident that indeed with the name that you've created now for yourself within the Kenyan market, are you confident that you want to give out that name and then the business efficiency that you've grown over time to some other person to work other than you?
Yes, I am. Because one of the main challenges which we have as an African culture is the culture of holding on too much. Yes, we hold on too much. Because I was actually in a meeting with startup founders. And that's one of the major differences between us and maybe the foreign countries. So you find the foreign countries, someone starts a company, by the time it's growing, they only own 10% of that company. But now that company, the 10% which they own, the company is in over 50, 100 countries. But as we want to hold our 70, 80% of a company and limit it to where you are. Because one of the major challenges which I find with scaling is if you try to do everything by yourself, first you're too slow, and then you also limit yourself to access to new opportunities. Yes.
Pretty much. There's a question here that I got to ask you as well. We do know that there are regulations that have been getting pushed into the transport industry by KEBS in terms of the number of years that trucks are supposed to come into the country by. We do have some regulations that have caused a lot of heat in the transport industry, saying that trucks that are 8 years plus are not supposed to come into this country. They only need new trucks to come into the country. Do you believe as a player in that particular sector that it's a necessary pain that we have to take as investors?
From the government side, they usually don't understand how they come up with the policies, because I think from their end they try and weigh different interests. But from a market perspective, the reason the trucks from abroad were getting market within getting clients within the Kenyan market was in terms of economics of the business. So for me to go, let's say, and buy a new prime mover, traditionally, I needed about 14 million. Kenya shillings to go and buy a prime mover itself. If you give me an option to import one from UK, it costs me around 5 million. So what you're really saying is that instead of buying one truck, now I can buy 3 trucks. So my productivity is times 3. Yes, these 3 trucks may not have a longer lifespan as the new one, but in terms of productivity of my business, it makes more economic sense for me. And then also another element is the margins. If I buy a truck for 5 million, I'm able to be more competitive within the market.
True.
Because I'm looking at my return on investment. Unlike when I buy a new truck. So yes, they're trying to promote the new trucks, guys to buy more new trucks. But in real sense, if I didn't have the capacity to buy the new truck in the first instance, what has changed within the market that now prompts me to be able to be sure that I can afford to sustainably own a truck worth, let's say, 15 million instead of the traditional package which I was used to of 5 million.
Yes.
Because my client won't accept me to raise my price because I'm buying a new truck. So now that's the tricky part of balancing all this. So now what ends up happening still, instead of me going now to buy the same model of truck which I needed as a new truck, I look for a cheaper option. So let's say I wanted to buy an Actros truck, which is a Mercedes.
Yes.
Now I'll say, no, I can't afford that. I'll go for a Chinese brand.
Which is cheaper,
which is within my budget, around 6-7 million or 5 million. Yes. So that's the scenario which will happen.
Okay.
Yes, and if I was not used to the Chinese brand, now I have to get a new learning experience to
the Chinese brand, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's summarize it like this. How would you say your experience has been in the past 5 years of running this particular business? And are we going to see the same Joseph probably in the next 5 years now once you start franchising?
Yes, I'll be the same, but I expect to improve. Yeah, so I intend to retain the same values and improve on them.
All right.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you changed yourself since you started?
Yeah, since I've started, I can say I've improved a lot. It has been a learning experience, because what I've found is that it's different offering these services to different people, and like managing your own trucks, because now you get different perspectives, you interact with different people, and you also get access to different markets which you're not used to. So this has been a learning experience for me as a person, and something which I take humbly, and I really look forward to interacting with my clients on a regular basis. So this gives me now the first-hand experience and the first-hand information of what's really happening on the ground.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Joseph, thank you very much for coming by, man. Yeah. Now,
Thanks.
for any other person who wants to work with you, it's Finatrack, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes.
Global Limited, for any other person who wants to work with you.
Yes.
And once they open your website, they will see the rates that they're working with, isn't it?
Yes.
Habari ndio hiyo. Na alisema hapo kwa tracking itakuwa very easy way kuelewa juu that's the only thing you're going to meet on the app. Vitu zingine zote wapigie simu, and then after that they will give you the rates and every other thing that you need. Talking to a business owner in the transport industry in Kenya. And they're saying it's not just about trucking, it's essentially now become a trading solution. So once you approach them for tracking your trucks or cars, they'll be telling you, not just about tracking, we're going to help you also meet the rest of your needs. You've been with me, Simba, Elijah Charles Kiage, all the way from 7 a.m. this morning. It's been a good 3 hours. Time for me to go take a breather. I'll see you tomorrow again for another edition, possibly. The country does not get into the mandamano mood and we fail to have a show. Hopefully we'll be right there. Thank you very much. Take him online to the time that he joined us this morning and Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. Guess what? All those questions that you may have, we'll be sending it to him as well. We do know they're there. Good morning.